Well, good evening. I'm trying to go back to a book that's more recent in case some of y'all want to start coloring along. I am going to change things up for a little bit and just do some coloring for fun. So, anyway, for you that have asked, yes, I seem to be doing a little better. It comes and goes. But anyway, Letters to Live By, and got a bookmark in here. That out of the way. I'm going to take a clear plastic sheet and just put it behind the page, and that is going to help keep the indentations from going through to the next page. And I really want to do what's down here. My book is up as far as it'll go. So we're going to see if we can tilt this. There we go. Now I'm not really going to be able to zoom in because it would move the picture from here up here. But that's okay. I think you're going to be able to see what I'm doing here. I've got three different reds. I've got a red-orange, and these are Crayola, then just a regular old red, and then a mahogany. I want to make this look dimensional. It's where the pins are sticking into the cushion. So the lightest color is going to be on the tallest areas. Okay, just like always, and I'm going to fade out. Fade out. So this is the red-orange. Just fading as we come out. That will allow the colors to mesh together easier. Just really fade it out to nothing. Now, here's another dip. And this is also sticking out because if the pin's going through there, the fabric is over the top, the fabric is coming up. So we're going to go ahead and do that solid. And then fade out. And fade out. You can see this is bubbled up. So that's slightly raised. And then fade out. Maybe fade out will be our new word, huh? Here's another raised spot. Fade as we bring it down. Here's one here that's raised. Lighter as we come down. All of this around here is raised, so it's all going to be this lighter red-orange color. Did you see me just turn the pencil? I pulled it back some and I rotated. What I'm doing is by rotating, it's helping to keep that tip on there. Remember when you were a kid and you had a peppermint stick and you'd put it in your mouth and spin it around and rotate it to keep that point? It's kind of what we're doing here. I rotate it every now and then to work a different area and keep somewhat of a point. Now here, this needle's going under there, so this is on top. And then you'll see me just fade that out on both sides. Here we go. I'm just fading it. I'm not going to do in this little triangle or across this front because this is tucked down inside. We want that to look more rounded. Then this down here needs to be darker. So let's just keep going across this back part here. Get this all done in. See how it's already starting to get that little bit of fluff look to it? Okay. Now, I'm basically finished with this color, except I'm not going to use a blending stick or a colorless blender. I am going to use that color again. So I am going to keep that color pulled because I like to use the lightest color in a group of colors to use to blend, just so that we're adding more color to the page and not just moving the color around. Now I'm on red. So I'm going to start down here. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm going to start down here and get lighter as I go up in. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit darker than what we just did. And I can see a little bit of a line there. So I'm just going to keep going into that back and forth lightly. Come on over here. And just blend this in. Getting lighter as I come out and blend into that other color. And again, I realize these colors are not a great difference. You're not going to see a whole lot of difference probably on camera, but by doing it this way, I get that depth that I'm looking for. Now I'm not coming all the way down to that line because I still want to get that darkest shade in there to be able to see that it's tucked behind that line. But I will be almost to there, just not quite. Same thing here on this line. Come down to it, but don't actually go right there. And you know what we've been doing in our last few pages. If we happen to get something too dark, we're going to come back in with an eraser and just lift some of that color out. Now this book has quite a bit of tooth, so I still have quite a bit of white poking through here. And you always be the judge of that on your own page. You decide how much white do you want showing and how much do you really want to get rid of. Does it bother you that there's a little bit of tooth showing? Or are you one of those people that you have to have it all gone? Because that, my friend, is personal preference. It's not anything that is any kind of hard and fast rule. It is most definitely up to each person as to what you do and how dark or how saturated, I guess is a good word, you feel that that needs to be. And again, we're not seeing just a whole lot of difference in these colors. So I probably could have gone ahead and used even lighter and darker shades. Now I'm coming in with my mahogany and I'm going to go behind each one of these humped areas and then fade it out. This should be where you start to see there's a V right there. This should be where you start to see where the different colors are a little bit more. I'm seeing it on my paper, but again, I'm right up close, so I will try to remember to pick the picture up and get you a close-up, or to take the phone off the stand and get you a view there. Just going around the bottoms of these needles, you know, where it scoots in. Just making sure I get a lot of different shades in here. This one. And then remember we said across the front here. Let me stand back up. Yeah, you're seeing some of it. And this, if it's an old antique handmade pincushion, which it really kind of looks like it to me, this is probably a canning jar lid or something of the sort. My sewing is right behind me, so let me look and see if I have one of those. I do not see one sitting right there. Nope. I thought I had one, but I think it's in a shadow box from my husband's grandmother that I made up. Alright, so now I'm coming back in with my lightest shade and just blending everything. So at this point, it's just everything gets another coat of this lightest color. And I'm able to get rid of a lot of the tooth that's in my paper. And yeah, there's no rhyme or reason always to how I go across the part that I'm doing. Sometimes I'll go from right to left, left to right. These last few days, there's not a lot of reasoning to anything. I'm just doing it. One foot in front of the other. But it's good to be coloring again. I've not colored since I was on with y'all last time. Just too much going on, too much to do. So here we go. But who knows, maybe you've got a page with a pincushion in it and you were waiting to see this. Or something that had fabric that you wanted it to look a little more pillowy looking. So there's that. Let's see if I can pick this up. And without bumping the camera. Nope, impossible. There's a bit of a closer look. And I'm going to have to really get in there with my some of my darker colors, my mahogany. So I'm really going to get in here with this mahogany and deepen this up. It just didn't fade the way I wanted it to. So I'm coming around in there and making that darker. But see that first coat, and I want some of this darker because it's in the back. That first coat of color can always be just a little bit to get your color on the page. Because see, it's still accepting color for me. I'm still able to get color on that paper. As long as there is tooth in that paper, you can keep adding to it. So I'm adding more of my dark in here. And that's going to help me for it to look a bit more poofy, fluffy. Okay? And the thing is, whatever colors you use, it's going to be okay. Just make sure you have a lot of area that's light and a lot that's dark, and that it goes back and forth. Now I'm going to come in with my lightest again and go over some of these, get some more of that tooth out of the paper. I've explained tooth before like mountains and valleys, and when you're coloring, your pencil hits those mountains and pushes the color down into the valleys. And then when you come across it a second time, it pushes it a little bit more down in. And you keep going until you get all that tooth pushed down into the paper. That's just the best way I can explain it, so I hope it helps. Okay, don't get dizzy. Here we go. Alright, so I still have places left. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put you back up here now. Maybe. Maybe I can move the phone down a little on the stand. There we go. I'm going to zoom you in some. Not that much. We want you to stay on the page. If I push it all the way up, you're still down there. Now, I am going to my pencils. They're in this book. You can get these books on Amazon, and I just like the ones that flip, like what you just saw me flipping by, with a zipper all the way around it. And I like where each pencil has its own slot to go into, instead of 2 or 3 pencils in each one. I just find that easier. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab a brown. Now this is my mahogany, so I want a brown that has a little bit of red to it. So I'm going to grab that cocoa, and we're going to see if that is dark enough or not. I say I'm going to grab cocoa. That's if I can find it. It may be pulled for something. Nope, there's cocoa right there. So now I've got this cocoa, and I'm going to come in here in just these triangle areas and go even darker. Do you see how that just kind of pushed that back in there? Okay, I'm going to try. Let's see. See, if I tilt this too far, then the camera will completely flip to going sideways. Alright, so I'm going to go behind these. And my paper's tooth is almost gone because it's barely taking this color. But I don't want a whole lot of this color in. I just want enough that it pushes that even further down and behind. Okay? So that's what I'm trying to do here. And just a little bit down here at the base, because that's actually down in, and there would be a shadow where the top poofs out over the bottom. Alright, so that made it look, I think, quite a bit more 3D. Now we want even more 3D. Okay, let's grab the eraser, and that's pink on there from last time, so I'm not worried about that smearing into the red. If it had red on it and I was going to yellow, I would need to clean that first by rubbing it off on a clean piece of paper. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit these highlight areas. I'm just hitting the highlighted areas. The parts that look like they're poofed up some. So this line here, it's dark behind. I want to go light in front. That's kind of how you decide what you want to lighten up some. And so the paper is still going to be stained underneath, but I can get some of that color off of there. And now I've got even more lights and darks. I could take and erase the whole thing if I wanted, but I probably would not be able to add much color back in, because the tooth has already been flattened out by the pencils. But now you can see that looks even more fluffy. Okay, it looks fluffy around there. Then my last step for this piece is to grab some gel pens. And sometimes if you want to make sure you're not using the same colors over and over, the best thing to do is just grab a bunch. So I'm going to do silver needles. So I'm going to come in here, and then after I finish with the gel pens, there's no more coloring till the next day in this particular book. That's the only way I can be sure that I'm going to walk away and not smear it. Okay, so getting these needles done. I'm going to go ahead and do these needles too, the same color. I could change to a different silver, but or metallic, but I'm really okay using the same color. And see, I'm going to wrap my hand all the way around the picture to make sure that I am staying out of that wet part that I just did. So there's that. So I'm going to put that one back in so I don't use it again. Something I did realize is there's a little hole in that needle. The darker color would be showing through. Alright, so now then, here's green. Let's use green on the head of this one and this one up here. I will skip around when I do these so that I don't have any two right next to each other. Alright, put that one up. Here's a, and these are all metallic. Here's a fuchsia. Now that actually looks like a needle because see the thread coming through here? So that is not a circle to be colored in. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do this one. Then I'm going to skip over and do this one. And then what would a picture be without some purple? So I have purple needle or head on the needles. There's purple. There's purple. So anytime you don't know what colors to use and you want it to be pretty carefree, just pick up a pile of gel pens and go for it. Now, I was going to do blue, but I've got a yellow right here, and I'm thinking you do see a lot of yellow tops on straight pens. And then all those are done. Now I can concentrate on this down here. Here's 3 colors in my hand. Put the others back over here. So, and I do remember somebody asked to see, this is a silver, somebody asked to see setup for one of my craft shows. I have not had another show yet. We ended up having to cancel that one when my dad died. And so I've not had another show. I have a show the first weekend in December, so I will do what I can then to get you a video. This is just a brown color. To get you a video of my setup and what I do. But no, I have not forgotten. We are just now getting caught up with laundry and housework and everything else. Now I think I'm going to make right above this match, but I'm going to do in between these little designs.